So Ja Morant gets suspended for way too many games. But in professional sports, again, we go, hey, athlete, you are held to like the highest standard in the world, higher than everybody else in the world. And why? Because at the end of the day, what fans think, owners think, and pontificators on these sports shows think is because you're an athlete and you're playing a kid's game that they can fucking control you and everything about you. And then Ja Morant says, I'm sorry for letting the kids down, which is complete bullshit. Ja Morant, they shouldn't be looking up to you as a person. All right, guys, welcome to Punch Me in the Face, the podcast. And what we're going to talk about today, we've discussed, and we're trying to get to the bottom of, because a lot of people out there that pontificate, but don't tend to talk about, because I don't know why more people don't talk about it. And I'm really, whether you're a sports guy, not, you're in the media, you're not, like getting people to understand what is going on here. So Ja Morant gets suspended for way too many games, okay? For an incident that he wasn't charged for, doesn't appear to be a crime, doesn't appear that they're even trying to charge him. But the National Basketball Association decided that we're not okay with it, even though it's not remotely a crime, and it didn't happen on our court when you were playing, so we really don't even know how we have jurisdiction over it. But obviously our contract's written that we can do whatever the fuck we want whenever we want. So we can come after you for whatever we want, whenever we choose to. And then what blew me away was Ja Morant, and again, I get it, it's a game, he has no choice, right? Comes out and says, hey, I'm sorry for letting the kids down that look up to me. And again, at some point in time, then the Players Association's like, it's too harsh. Well, then, dude, why don't you do your job? Where else in the world do you work at a company? At any company, let's use America. Where in America do you work at a company that if you're on Instagram Live and you flash a gun where you did not commit a crime, like nobody charged you, nobody's looking to charge you, there's no crime committed, does your employer get to say you're fired or suspended? And I actually believe if they did that, you'd have a really good cause for wrongful termination. Really good cause. Like, they just fired you. Like, they're like, dude, you're fired. You did Instagram Live video. We don't like it. You don't see that anywhere, but in professional sports. So, first of all, why? Because tell me somewhere else you go that would happen. If the CFO of Walmart's driving down the street, first of all, but if he's on Instagram Live, he didn't commit a crime. I mean, maybe they fire him, but I don't think they prevail. But in professional sports, again, we go, hey, athlete, you are held to like the highest standard in the world, higher than everybody else in the world. And why? Because at the end of the day, what fans think, owners think, and pontificators on these sports shows think is because you're an athlete and you're playing a kid's game that they can fucking control you and everything about you. And then Ja Morant says, I'm sorry for letting the kids down, which is complete bullshit. Ja Morant, like, they shouldn't be looking up to you as a person. Now, if Ja Morant's in the basketball court, dunks the basketball, kicks a guy in the face, reaches down, punches him in the face, and then grabs a water bottle and dumps it on him, and then screams at him and blows him up and drops these F-bombs on him. I think Ja Morant, first of all, it happened during a game. They have all kinds of jurisdiction. You get technical foul, you get thrown out how many games, but I think as an NBA player, for other basketball players, for the 9-year-old kid that's playing hoops, I do think he should say, hey, don't play the game that way. Hey, my fault on that. I know I'm not your role model because there's a dad somewhere, mom, grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, teacher, coach that knows you. All these people are much more qualified to be your role model than me. I'm not your role model, obviously. But on the basketball court, because I play in the NBA and because I'm on national television, I apologize, kids. Don't play the game that way. That's cool. That actually makes sense. If the NBA goes, dude, you're out 5 games. Like, that was over the top. That was during one of our games. Now, if the Walmart CFO comes in with a gun, flashing around in the office, sitting at his desk on Instagram Live, whether he's charged or not, they should suspend him. Got it. It happened at work. But if he's driving down the street at 11 o'clock at night, And again, you can argue that people do stuff nobody cares unless you're famous, right? But at some point in time, we have to get people to understand that I don't understand the Players Association. Like, this doesn't even seem to be like if I ran the Players Association, I would eviscerate that. Like, this makes no sense. And if you go, well, the contract allows it, then change the contract. Then change the fucking contract. You want to work somewhere that anything you do in your entire life forever, whether it's not a crime or not, they can just suspend you for a quarter of the season or more because they choose to. And then they, like a puppet, get you to apologize for shit that's not your fault. Ja Morant couldn't let the kids down if they were fucking parented correctly. He's not their role model. Do we not realize in society how jacked up that is? That we're literally still having this conversation. Literally. And the players are afraid because they're like, dude, I got to say they're the role model for the kids. Like, I don't even know these kids. I've never met these kids. I ain't never going to meet these kids, but I'm their role model. I would assume they're like, that's weird to me, but whatever. You don't hear these other guys going, when I grew up, they might have talked about watching Jordan play and watching Kobe play and watching Iverson play. But dude, I don't hear him saying, but they were my role model in my life. And the professional athletes I've talked to have been like, it was this high school coach that let me live in his house. It was my stepdad. He was unbelievable. It was my dad. It was my mom. My mom, like, that's how they got to where they are. You can't have a role model you're never going to meet in your life. That's living in a fictitious world. And we create it. And then they create it. We buy into it. And it's so bought in that the players get on and go, sorry, read Ja Morant's quote. Like, I'm sorry I let down these kids that look up to me as a role model. You're not their role model. How about the Players Association says that? We'll be accountable for everything we do on the court. And if it's a crime off the court, we'll be accountable for that. Outside of that, leave us alone. Completely. Like every other job in America. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. You can agree or not agree with what any of them say. You can agree with what Kyrie said or not. But dude, you can agree about Ja Morant hanging out. You can agree, but dude, none of it is your business. It's not. It's just not. Now, if you go, so-and-so said something that's so offensive, we have to stand. Fine. As a team, cut him. You have the right to do that. You're paying him. Cut him. I get it. I'm cool with that. But the NBA stepping in and going, you're out? You're out this many games? Are you kidding me? You've got to be freaking kidding me. So, again, everybody knew how big a suspension will be. Everybody get out and tell them how awful it is. Ja Morant's, they're convincing him to work on his mental health. Dude, I don't know Ja Morant. He's on Instagram Live holding a gun. Does it mean that he's fucking paranoid, schizophrenic? I don't know. Does it mean he's depressed? I don't know. Does it mean he has bad judgment? Yeah, welcome to being a human being. We've all exerted bad judgment. All of us. But a lot of us, when somebody else does it, forget that we've done it. We're like, look at that. We're going to vilify that guy. Look at what he did. So, again, we at some point will figure out why players are viewed to have less rights, less protection, less safety than every other employee in America. And I think what you hear from people when they're honest is people look up to them for their athletic ability for the most part. And somewhere deep down inside in a place they don't want to admit, they're mad at them for making the amount of money they make for playing the game. But let me be clear. If you ask me to play football in front of 100,000 people at Cowboy Stadium, whether I'm throwing a pass, catching a ball down the sidelines, making open field tackle, and the work that goes into being able to play at that level seems like a lot more work than it would be to be a C-level executive at a lot of companies. It's more stressful. I mean, let's be honest, you know. It's very unforgiving, and it's very short-lived. You're only as good as your physical ability. You're one injury away from being cut or being done forever. You can tear your ACL at your job. You can get your job. You probably do it from your house. They have everything on the line every minute of every day. And then we have these insane standards. We view them as less than we view everybody else. A lot of people have frustration at them. That's why people call them losers and tell them they suck when they play, because they're angry that they're uncoordinated, chili-eating, hot dog ass, couldn't even play ball, barely played in high school, if that. And they're mad that their ability allows them to make millions of dollars. Yet they pay to watch them play. Some people pay to watch them play to scream at them. And again, I'm just, if you scream, then you better back it up. That's all. I mean, everybody's tough over the internet. Everybody, knock that guy out. Of course you will. Doing your video that nobody's watching. Of course you will. You know what I mean? And don't dignify that stuff with a response, because any publicity is good publicity. Nobody cares about a fan yelling or some guy hating on you about it. Everybody's tough over the internet. Of course they are. Everybody's tough in the stands, 20 rows from the player. I was at a Celtics game, and Heat Celtics. And towards the end of the game, one of the Heat players, the guy wouldn't shut up. He just wouldn't shut up. And the dude was like, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. Like, straight up. Like, I will just knock you the fuck out. And the fan was way over the top. And he was sitting on the court. And the fan just couldn't believe it. It's just like, he can't do that. It's like, no, he actually can. You're fucking verbally antagonizing him. And you're like 5'4". You know what I mean? You ain't like in any kind of shape. I look at your hands. You ain't never hit nobody. And yeah, he's gonna fuck you up. And he has the right to do that. Now, God forbid he did. Right? God forbid he did. But again, that's that you don't have any rights. I mean, we would never allow any employees to be spoken to that way, talked to that way, berated that way. And now we take it a step further and go, whatever you do outside of the field, the locker room, the stadium, we are going to we're judge, jury, and executioner, even if you didn't commit a crime. And all in the name of what? That you're a role model and you let everybody down? We can go through every company in America and find people you don't agree with. You're going to find people politically you don't agree with. You're going to find people that have views that you don't agree with. Do we fire everybody? You're going to find people who've done things that to you are offensive. I mean, pick anything and get me groups of people, and you'll find some that think it's great and some that think it's offensive. It might be so over the top that most people think it's offensive and only a couple think it's great, or vice versa. But we really have to get this thing locked in, because it's only going to get worse. And I still don't understand the players. So I just don't understand that. I don't remotely fathom how the NBA thinks that I don't even know if it's collective bargaining agreement, which I'll even call it, but what does that look like? Because I'll tell you what, if I'm in charge and some dude I'm responsible for protecting gets a 20-plus game suspension for doing something outside of the game that wasn't a crime, yeah, I'm going to burn you to the ground, dude, when we start talking about it, in arbitration, wherever it happens to be. Because that ain't nobody's business. Ain't got nothing to do with nothing. And it comes back to what? Role model. He's a bad role model. Your parents, your guardian, your friends, your coaches, the people you actually know in life should be teaching you. But again, then we do that. So I guess who suspends the rappers when they talk about shit? Which shouldn't be our business either. We actually edify it, promote it, and play the songs. But we tell our kids, right, that like that's a song. And it's an old Eminem song where it's like, dude, like we're just talking. Like what are you talking about? Like every time you do something, you're going to blame me and sue me? Like that's our problem. We've exonerated every parent and guardian from their kid. Like, I worked at the Department of Children and Families 14 years in the state of Connecticut. Worked with abused, neglected children. And people would call 1 o'clock in the morning. My 15-year-old is doing this and this. He's a horrible kid. No, you're a horrible fucking parent. And you're calling me at 1 a.m. to do what? Come put your 15-year-old into a shelter or foster home? Well, if I abuse him, yeah, you'll be arrested. That's the way it works. But dude, at some point in time, you're paying the price for the lack of parenting you had. He wasn't raised that. He wasn't born that way. They don't go like, this one's a bad one and this one's a good one. People make mistakes. They could be under the influence. That could happen. They could get addicted to substances. That could happen. There's a lot of things that can happen in life. But at some point in time, we want to blame everybody else for our kids' actions but us or them. How about accountability? If your kid goes out and does something and commits a crime, that's because he or she chose to do it. If you supported it and they committed a crime, then all of you chose to participate. If your kid watches Ja Morant's Instagram live and decides I should do everything Ja Morant does in his life, that's really, really bad upbringing on your part. It's okay to say, hey, dude, Ja Morant's an unbelievable basketball player. Posting shit, by the way, posting on Instagram live is dumb. It's fucking stupid. Like, it's immature. I mean, if you want to go like, hey, dude, can you play? If I'm the player association, I'm like, hey, bro, can you stop putting your shit online like live? That's like really fucking causing me more work. Could you just not do that? That'd be cool. Can you live your life off the court and not put it all on live? That's a little bit fucking weird and immature. I'm totally supportive of that because that's what I'd be saying. But that's that role modeling too. Like, who's not saying that to him? Can you hang out with other friends because your friends are like acting as immature as you and they're videotaping you were doing shit? Like, what are you doing, bro? Why would you do that? But we need to figure out why and how we change this. Why are players viewed that way, which I think I know, and the stuff I said I believe, and why are we allowing this? Why are they held to a higher standard? Why can you get in their face off the field and they can't knock you the fuck out? If I own the team and some dude got in your face at some fucking bar or at a grocery store and you knocked him the fuck out because he got in your face, I'd fucking pay you more. I'd be like, dude, you just got to fucking raise. How much we paying him? Let's pay him fucking more. We like him. And you know what? Less chili dog eating assholes would would be talking shit. They would. Everybody would pay attention. But the more it goes on, and the more people I talk, they're like, dude, that's the way it works. In public, they do it to us. And so, I tell people all the time, and they're, be big and bad over the internet, but do that to me, bro. I hope you're really good because I'm going to fucking punch you square in the mouth. And you can punch me square in the mouth as many times as you want. But, that's we see what happens. But you don't treat people that way. And you don't get the right to treat people that way. And then again, you get vilified if you react at all. And this is all going to come to a head eventually. It just is. You got these groups of people where you got, hey, we're treated unfairly, which is players are, they're held to, and then you got fans becoming more emboldened and more protected and more saying in the media. Like, I don't know, this makes me laugh. Like, I'm okay with your report on it, but when they go like, and the stuff they say about Ja Morant, like, dude, if it was me, and then one of them wanted to, you watch them, one of them was like, hey, can you talk to me? I'd be like, I ain't talking to you. You'd be like, well, how's the game go? I don't know. Why don't you fucking run your mouth like you did last time, judge a shit out of my life? You didn't fucking know nothing. You never asked me nothing. You never interviewed me. You never called me. You never text messaged me. But you went online and slandered shit out of me and said all the shit about me you didn't even know to be true. So how about you keep your fucking questions to your fucking self? But they couldn't do that. They'd be fined and probably suspended. Because again, they're just pawns in this game and all the puppet masters are up here. They're paid well. That doesn't mean you get to treat people that way. It doesn't matter how much they get paid. It doesn't matter what the CEO of Home Depot gets paid. You can't fucking torment him at a grocery store because he makes a bunch of money. You can't get in his face. You're not able to do that. And if that dude defends himself, nobody's going to give a shit. They're going to be like, you shouldn't have gotten in his face. And like everybody moves on, And that's why people pick people like that. They know they can, it's like I had a real big 2,500 gallon Shark Tank and you get these big blowfish, which is really unfair because they can attack everything. And then when they get attacked, they just blow up in this ball of spikes, and my buddy's like, man, it's pretty cool. That thing's a badass. I'm like, well, he's not a badass. He can do whatever he wants. And then you can't attack him. He blows up into like the size of a freaking soccer ball with spikes. So he can bite you, attack you, nip at you, fuck with you, and then you turn to do it with him, and that's what we're creating with people. And then something bad happens, and we're like, oh shit, I couldn't believe it. Because one day somebody's going to lose it. And somebody strong is going to hit somebody not strong because they're going to be tormented just enough. And that person's going to fall and get hurt, maybe really bad. And then we're going to go, dude, that person's evil. And I'm going to go, I don't know, man. He had enough. We all have a breaking point. Everybody. However we break is different, but there's a breaking point. So chalk one more up for the puppeteers, the big suspension, all the people coming out and talking about how Ja Morant's really effed up and needs therapy, giving him a new team to go to, that he needs to go to. Well, the guy said, I was reading, the guy said, just put him in Utah. That man, whatever. And, but I think that we should be striving for everybody to be treated the same in wherever it is. Athletics, business, same based on occupation, gender, ethnicity. It all should be the same. It should be a level playing field, and it's not. So let me know your thoughts, comments, likes, don't likes. You agree, you don't agree. Share it with somebody. Share it with somebody who don't agree with me. But if we in America don't get back to who the real role models are, and we keep having this delusional existence that we're not responsible, and these professional athletes are letting our little children down, and that's why they're not going to be good kids. If we don't get back to some fucking accountability here in America, this will get worse. And Players Association, I hope you don't let this stand, man. I mean, I don't know how I'd feel if I was a player and I could lose more than 25% of my season for something that wasn't a crime. I'm not going to be charged for, and it happened off the field. So I think the criminal element is the key. I mean, if it's so bad, I will be charged. If not, leave them alone. So I appreciate y'all. As always, appreciate your time. Thanks for jumping on. Punch me in the face.